Well, boys, we are very, very close to being able to look at the Premier League table, and I think one of us is gonna be real happy when that happens. This is Red Card Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're listening from. Thanks for tuning in. Red Card Radio is a weekly look at the Premier League from three friends who support different clubs. My name is James. I support Arsenal. Arsenal, you can see that over my shoulder, wherever it is. There it is, yeah. That's Brad over that way now, I guess. He supports Chelsea, and down below, that's Sean. He supports Tottenham Hotspurs. Top of the table, Tottenham Hotspurs, if I would be so bold as saying.
Yeah, but I feel like you're going to say it doesn't count, so it doesn't matter. You get carte blanche to say that, but it doesn't matter, right?
No.
Dang.
I would certainly not say that Tottenham being at the top of the table right now doesn't count. What I would say is that the table holistically is irrelevant because we haven't played 10 games yet. So like looking at it and trying to gain some sort of deeper understanding of what's going on in the Premier League is futile at this point, would be my suggestion. Not that we shouldn't celebrate Tottenham being I certainly won't celebrate Tottenham being first.
No, who would be celebrate? There's only one person who celebrates Tottenham being first.
True.
Yeah, I just feel like that was a massive setup for an undercut.
It wasn't intentionally, but now that you say it, I wouldn't mind.
Okay. You want me to celebrate it, and then you can just undercut it and say it doesn't matter?
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, look at Tottenham, top of the table. Look at us.
Yeah, bro, it doesn't matter. Not 10 games.
Yeah, that's
okay. Before we get too deep, hit that subscribe button, ring the sub notification bell. If you are on YouTube, if you're on one of the podcast sites, hit it with a follow, hit it with 5-star review, all that stuff. And Brad's still tracking down those 5-star reviews on.
I am
on Apple.
I will read them out.
Apple Podcasts, on YouTube, whatever it's called. I don't iTunes. I couldn't remember what it's called.
iTunes. Wow.
But
YouTube, yeah. iTunes. I mean, you were close.
Silicon Valley, man. It's all the same. Google, Apple, who cares? All right. So what we got for you guys today, we are going to be looking at match week 9, just kind of getting a feel for this weekend in the Premier League. That might be a veiled comment for later this week. But yeah, so kind of just if you're following along on YouTube, you can check the scores on the ticker tape. We've got the Newcastle score scrolling along right as we speak. But you guys can, of course, pause the video or pause the podcast or pull up hit google.com EPL match week 9. You'll be able to see all the scores. We have to start in West London. I mean, there's two of us on this podcast that support two of the teams that played against each other. It's the Chelsea-Arsenal match in West London. And that game ended in an exciting 2-2 draw. As I correctly predicted, it was a banana peel game for Arsenal. Arsenal slipped up and did not take maximum points in this match against what was, I think you guys were 11th place Chelsea coming into the match, something like that. You guys were...
Sure.
Dreadful. Yeah. Not that it matters, right? Because not 10 games.
But it doesn't matter yet.
But since it's probably more a better result for your team, why don't you take the floor first? Tell us what did you think about the game? What are your feelings in this moment?
You know what? As sorry, I just saw PremierLeague.com. They have Saka as the man of the match, and I'm flabbergasted, but that's okay.
Who would you say was the man of the match?
Cole Palmer.
Interesting. Okay.
You know, Brad, I will give you that. Cole Palmer did look really good.
Cole Palmer had the game by the throat. Like Cole Palmer was doing everything. You seem to be disagreeing, but that's okay.
I would just wonder what he did after, like, he was. I don't think he's as influential as you were trying to say he was later in the game. But I digress.
But he was also subbed out.
I do have a Cole Palmer related question.
Yeah.
Brad, I need you to tell me, why is he your penalty taker?
Because he wanted to. He said, give me that ball. He said, give me that ball, Sterling.
Enzo
said, yeah. He gets the ball. Shut up. He gets the ball.
Is that a training thing? Was that just straight confidence on the field, or like
I
he
guess it was
can't
confidence on the
be?
field.
There's no way. When I saw him grab the ball and go towards the spot, I was like, "What? What?" That was
I, I
my
think
exact
that's
moment.
his
Like I was
maybe his second penalty for us, but first with with a more full strength first team.
James, were you also surprised to see Cole Palmer walking to the spot with the ball in his hand?
I was surprised, but for different reasons. Not that he was the one taking the penalty, more
Are you
that
surprised that we got the penalty in the first place?
no, actually, I wasn't surprised you guys got the penalty. When I saw it on replay, I was like, yeah, they're going to give that penalty. Now, I think that there's a broader conversation we can have about defensive arm handball penalties if we
I
want to
agree.
have that. That is one of my questions that I have my list of questions and points that I'm going to bring up. And I have a different I have a different question
you
about
wanna-
Cole Palmer, but
You want to let him? Maybe we'll let him finish, and then
yeah,
we'll address that. All right.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Chelsea played the game really, really well. I think Conor Gallagher was another unsung hero. Like again, him and Cole Palmer at the top pressing, I think did a really, really good job of not letting Arsenal into the middle of the field, pushing you guys wide. I don't think you guys had much effective possession until Sanchez decided to give Declan Rice a goal.
So you blame Sanchez for that goal?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
He was careless with the ball there. It just sucks that like you guys capitalized on that mistake, and then we didn't capitalize on the mistake Raya made. Cole Palmer's at his feet.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about with Raya. Yeah, I would agree with you. Well, I mean, Raya played. I mean, insofar as Raya could put himself into that position, he then played it well after that.
Correct. His recovery was strong.
So okay, what any other closing? You obviously feel like Chelsea should have won the game.
Yes, but before as far as results go and where our team is at and where Arsenal are at right now, if you told me at the beginning of the game it was a draw, I probably would have been happy. At the end of that game, I was disappointed.
Okay, so I would echo your sentiment in being disappointed in that match. I was equally disappointed. I think so. I'm just gonna go from the top of my list. So it kind of goes chronologically in a sense. But I have a question for maybe not Brad. Maybe Sean is a better person to answer this question. But should Cole Palmer have even been on the pitch to take the penalty? Should he have been sent off at this point in the match? So I bring up the fact that he stamped on Gabriel's shin, studs up, and that's what he got a yellow card for. That was a yellow card. It wasn't adjudged. VAR didn't upgrade it. We've seen lesser fouls get given as red cards this season. I think I've been upset at those in the past. And so if this is a situation where VAR and the PGMOL are improving and they're getting better, and that's why that was not a red card, then that's fine, and I'm okay with it. But did you think that his first challenge on Jesus deserved a red card, Sean? No. Okay, that's fine. That's fair.
But I do agree with you that lesser challenges have been a red, which is the problem. It's not Palmer's challenge that is the problem. It's the inconsistency.
All right. So I kind of agree. I think that's a yellow card, and I'm okay with it. My bigger issue with the Premier League in this season in Cole Palmer is that he gets that yellow card, and that's fine. I'm happy with it. But then like 5 minutes later, an Arsenal player commits a foul, and Cole Palmer is looking at the referee and essentially saying you have to give him a yellow card. And on top of that, 4 other Chelsea players surround the referee at the same time.
I know what you're talking about.
It's my understanding in the Premier League this season that you're not allowed to ask the referee to book people, and that's a cautionable offense. And if Cole Palmer is telling the referee he needs to caution whichever Arsenal player it was, I don't remember who it was, he should have gotten a second yellow card and he should have been sent off. And on top of that, the Chelsea players did surround the referee. That's kind of like an out there stance. I don't honestly fully I'm not
accept that.
necessarily suggesting that is the reason why Arsenal lost the game, but it is interesting to me. It's humorous. Oh, okay, that was my first point. But was about Cole Palmer.
So this is the Kovacic. Do you think this was like a Kovacic type call?
Certainly not as bad. Certainly not as bad as Kovacic.
Right, but in that this game is a important rivalry. Give them a little bit more. I'm just trying to think of why they did not, because you're correct. That's a cautionable offense in what this was. Like you are correct.
Okay, I'm glad.
I'm not gonna ever defend the referees. Yes. What did you think I wasn't going to?
Yes.
Why?
Well, because there's gonna be something else on my list that you're going to push back on me for.
Oh, I know that. Well, I'm coming hard too.
I feel like I can lead part 3 because in week 2, Christian Romero was adjudicated to being in a lunging position in the box where a ball hit his forearm, and it was adjudicated that a lunging position is a natural position.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, if you call it that way, that's okay. All right. But then that's not a handball. Then if you called it the way you did for Romero, this was not a handball.
So in watching the handball that was given against Saliba, in watching that, it's kind of like, oh, I understand why they've given it as a yellow card. And honestly, I watched it and I was like, wasn't even mad about it because I knew they were going to do it. But upon watching it later and reflecting because they talk about like proximity to the ball, like, are you making yourself in an unnatural position? That's debatable because if you look at Mudryk, when Mudryk heads the ball, his arm is out as well. So like if you're talking about jumping and your arm coming up, that's a natural position and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, I'm not super mad about it. I think we do need to have I think the Premier League needs to figure out what a handball is.
Is lunging and jumping a natural position?
Yes,
they need to draw. They need to
clear that up. So I'm not even super mad about that. So it is what it is. But they need to clean it up.
Because like I said, 7 weeks ago, they VAR took it and said, oh, no, Romero's not a... That's
exactly.
But he also went to the screen and looked at it, though. Like, the ref did what we've been asking them to do. He did go to the screen and look at it a second time.
Okay, but they're also sending him over and saying that the reason why I'm asking you to take a look at this is because I think you've made a clear and obvious error. Is that a clear and obvious error? That's the question.
Right.
It's the weird context.
Right. I'm with you guys. That does need to be defined, but I'm happy that the ref went and looked, and whatever the ref's decision was after he went and looked, cool. You looked a second time. So I wanted to give praise for that part.
I don't think that this should play a factor to a point, but if you really like watch the replay, it was only a handball because Mudryk hit it off target. Because if he would have put it on target, it wouldn't have hit his hand.
That's also true. That's also true.
So if you take that into account, that's an extra reason why it should not be a handball. Because not only did it not mean to, but if it was hit correctly, it would not have been.
Yeah. So that's another thing. So we need to clean that up.
Not that should matter.
I want to give props to Gusto. I thought Gusto had a great game.
Me too.
He locked up Martinelli. And I'll be honest, like he locked up Martinelli. Martinelli didn't get a lot of joy until later in the second half when he started making some moves. He did nothing in the first half. He did very little in the second half, but Gusto had a really good game. Cucurella, on the other hand, did not. All he did was foul Saka. And I'm shocked. And he essentially was like, I'm just going to kick Saka until he can't play. And it was ridiculous. And the fact that he got away with what he got away with was infuriating.
I have a slight pushback.
I knew
in the first half he did play very well against Saka. In the second half, Saka got him.
I just disagree because
Saka ate him on second half.
There was a situation where there was a foul further up the pitch and Saka was receiving the ball and then Cucurella just took him out. It was dirty and just nothing happened because play had stopped beforehand. I don't want to spend too much time on that. Sean, you look like you had a thought.
I actually am glad you brought that up because watching the game, Martinelli was a ghost. Like, and I think I told Brad while you were away while we were doing the pre-production meeting, that later in the second half and later in the first half and early in the second half, I was just saying this game screams for Trossard. Like, you have to put him on because Martinelli's just not getting it done. And lo and behold, he comes on and scores a goal. But so I am the clairvoyant savant that I think I am. But no, I just thought, like, Arteta's got to be quicker to that. When you have a weapon like Trossard who creates magic the way he does, like, I think you got to be quicker on that. If Martinelli's just not having his day, he's not having a good time, then you just get Trossard in there. It's a like for like.
I think that's fair.
Two vastly different styles, but they are like for like.
2 points about Sanchez. I don't think Sanchez is at fault for the Declan Rice goal, and let me explain to you why I don't think he's at fault for the Declan Rice goal. Goalies are told to make that pass. They're encouraged to make that pass. Conor Gallagher is in front of Declan Rice. Conor Gallagher is closer to Sanchez than Declan Rice is to Sanchez when Sanchez makes the pass. Conor Gallagher just doesn't move at all. He never moves his feet.
Loafed. Yeah.
He never moves his feet, and then Rice realizes that Gallagher's not moving. He steps in front of him and receives the pass. And so what is Sanchez supposed to do? He's told he's supposed to make this pass. He makes the pass, and his midfielder hangs him out to dry. To me, I understand why the goalkeeper gets crap for it, but in all honesty, it's Conor Gallagher's fault. Conor Gallagher hung his goalkeeper out to dry there, and it's kind of inexcusable in my opinion.
You can even see it when you watch the replays. Even it's almost like right before Rice gets the ball that Conor even realized what happened.
Yep.
Even when he goes around him, he doesn't even. There's no urgency yet.
It takes a second for that switch to flip.
And then he's like, "Oh no!" Then he reacts, but it's too late. It's a yard behind him.
Yeah.
A meter behind him at that point.
Next question about Sanchez. Should Arsenal have been awarded a penalty for Sanchez clattering into Gabriel Jesus?
When?
In the second half.
Was coming.
It was a cross or a corner. I don't remember which.
On the corner?
Tomiyasu wins the ball, and Sanchez comes to punch, and he misses the ball, misses everything, and puts his upper chest shoulder into Gabriel Jesus' face.
Well, again, the PGMOL was consistent in that it was not a penalty to Onana. So
incorrect, because the PGMOL publicly apologized to Wolves for not awarding a penalty. Howard Webb used that as a spot on there explaining with Michael Owen how the VAR is working / not working. They specifically used the Onana one in week 1 as like, oh, we messed up. He should have
the call on the field was the same. Review. The call on the field was the same.
Okay, so we're having the same failure of VAR then. Not 8 weeks later. 8 weeks later, we're having the same failure of VAR.
I think that's like so if Red Card Radio had a subtitle, it would be Red Card Radio, failures of VAR.
Okay, well then you should be on my side, Brad, and you should be complaining about this because it wasn't my team, it wasn't your team when it first happened against Onana, and we both thought it was bad. And now it's come back to bite one of our teams, and it benefited you. And so, like, you can't sit there and be like, "Well, it's not that bad." You gotta stick it to them because that was Arsenal should have had a penalty.
Brad, what did I say when Liverpool were aggrieved against us, and it benefited us? That we have to stop this. We have to get it right.
Yeah. No.
Even when it benefits me, like this is silly. We've got to be better.
Yeah.
I would like the refs to be consistent and better. Yes.
I would like the refs to be right, and I would like VAR to be right. I don't want them to be consistently bad and wrong. I want them to be consistently right and good. The
only consistency is they're bad.
Yes. Yeah, and that's not the right kind of consistency. My final point that I have listed, I think I have another point in my mind, is that Jorginho was not good enough. We looked a lot better when Rice went back to the 6. And from here on out, we either need to have Rice at 6 and either Rice at 6 or Partey at 6. Nothing else works.
Jorginho as a lone 6 doesn't work.
This is a definitive fact, a statement of fact that I'm about to make, Brad. This is a statement of fact.
No, it's not.
Mudryk did not intend to score that. Nope. Let me finish. Mudryk did not intend to score that. He never once looked at the goalkeeper.
Yes, he does.
No, he does not.
I disagree.
Stop.
I disagree.
Let me finish my point.
Disagree.
He does not one time look at the goalkeeper. He looks at who he's passing. He looks at who he's trying to cross to. He hits the ball. He continues to look to where he's crossing the ball, and then he's like, "Where's the ball?" And he finds it, and it goes in the net. I don't care if his goalkeeper. No. Stop. I don't care if his goalkeeper. I don't care if his goalkeeper coach told him beforehand to look at Raya, because Raya sometimes is off the line. He was not intending it. It doesn't take away from the goal. He still gets the goal. He still deserves it. He still kicked the ball, but he wasn't intending it. And so saying that it was a good goal.
I think you're wrong. You see him look. He sees Sterling. He tracks Sterling for the cross. Looks down at the ball. Looks back up. Sees where Raya is at, and that's when he kicks it.
This is 100% cross. There's a video. There's a video from behind the goal. You can see Raya. You like, it's behind the goal, behind Raya. It's tracking Mudrik's eyes. It's tracking his face the whole time. He never once looks at the goal, Brad. He never once does it. And it's fine. It is what it is. He scored a goal. Good for him.
It was a gorgeous goal.
It was on purpose. This is like the Saka had a goal like this a couple years ago. I think it might have been against Chelsea too, where it just wasn't. It was a cross that was mishit and it went in the goal, and you celebrate it. But you don't. That was on purpose. You don't then go after the fact and be like, yeah, it was intentional. You just say, look, it happens. It happens.
No, it was intentional, 100%.
I will say about that goal, if you look, Arsenal were dominant for the next 15 minutes after that. That goal happened right at the beginning of the second half. I think if that goal doesn't happen, if Mudryk doesn't get lucky, I think Arsenal go on to win the game because they dominate the second half. I didn't think we have no way of
dominating until Mudryk came off. I think Mudryk coming off, and then Jorginho coming off 2 minutes later. I think that was the switch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we did dominate you for like after that Mudryk goal, we dominated you for at least 10 to 15 minutes and like controlled the ball, got it in dangerous positions. We might not have had a lot of shots, but we controlled the ball in your half of the pitch.
See, that was the difference for those 10 minutes, is that you got it into dangerous positions. Before then, you guys had possession.
Sure.
You didn't have it in dangerous positions. So I agree with you.
But 1-0 is a very different game than 2-0. But so I'm disappointed. We lost the game, and it was disappointing to see. So
I just think my final thought was, watching it from a relatively neutral position, was even when Mudryk scored, my entire feeling, and maybe it's pessimism, but my entire feeling was, well, Arsenal are gonna score. They're like, you just felt it. Like, well, no way Chelsea are winning 2-0. Like, that's not happening.
You're kind of in an interesting position because you weren't in an entirely neutral position, because obviously as a Tottenham supporter, where Tottenham are at in the table, where Arsenal are at in the table, you actively
need to drop points.
You need Arsenal to drop points.
Yeah.
So what was your feeling? What was your feeling? What were your emotions towards the end of the game when Arsenal equalized?
Actually, I was hoping that you brought it level, because I don't want, in 2 weeks' time, I don't want a excited, confident, horny Chelsea team. Like, I don't want that. I want them to be beat down. But I needed you to drop points. So, like, it was an impossible situation as a Tottenham fan, because I need you to drop points, but I also don't want Chelsea to have confidence either.
The thing about this Chelsea team is, like, they're going to get up for the derbies. They're going to get up for the rival games. And then they're going to lose next week to Brentford or something like that. Like, Chelsea has Brentford. I don't know if they're home or away, but like, it's at Stamford Bridge. But like, Chelsea are going to drop points in that game, and it's just going to be like, it's the up and down roller coaster that is Chelsea right now. Is that, like, they string some stuff together and then something's going to happen. That's
look. I just want to point out. I just want to point out. We still haven't lost since I've worn this kit on the pod. So this kit is staying on the pod.
Oh, did Rose wear the
No,
shirt?
She did not, but I wore this on the pod. So I think that's why it was a draw. So it is picked out, it is set for game day.
All right.
Yes.
We spent 25 minutes talking about Chelsea and Arsenal. What anything else happened this week? There's a Merseyside derby.
There was.
Word on the street is that Everton can be a bit upset about that result, because they thought that Konate should have had a second yellow card while it was still 0-0.
And as soon as that happened, he got yoinked.
Yeah, it was literally.
I was like, you get out now.
Yeah.
You cannot be on the field anymore.
I'd be curious to hear what Jimmy and Tamzid think about this one.
Yeah.
Well, you guys had some interesting barking about this City Brighton game.
Oh, what? Oh, when
okay.
you were super confident that Brighton's gonna smack City because they're the better
So
team.
let me set the scene for the folks. So we've got a running text chain in which we got some unsolicited picks of the week from our good friend Joel, who says, "I know nobody asked, but I'm going to some picking of games, not picks.
Yes, picks of games. Selections of games, not those games,
and
not those picks.
In these picks, in these selections, these winners
selections.
He said that City would win it, and I said, I don't know about that. City or Brighton are taking it to them, or whatever. What was my wording? Brighton are taking it to City. Like they're going to get that win.
Something like that.
And you said City are scoring 7.
I said City are scoring about 7. And about makes that
here we
hyperbole.
Go. Let's do the math. Brighton lost 2-1 away at City.
Okay.
They were 2 goals from being a winner. City only scored 2 goals, which means they were 5 goals away from scoring 7, which means I'm more right. I'm only 2 goals off the correct prediction. You are 5 goals off the correct prediction.
Hold on. For our red card radio heads that did tune into the podcast last week, Sean stuck out his whole chest and said, Brighton is the better team. Brighton is dominating this game. Brighton's winning. City's not scoring anything. Haaland, who's Haaland? He's not doing anything with his whole chest. Not saying hot take, not saying there's a chance that Brighton wins. No, you win all in before the texting and the City 7-0.
Well, hold on. Can I also just point out how many league table points did Manchester City take away from this game?
3.
How many league table points did Brighton and Hove Albion take away from this game?
I think that's 0.
How many league table points did you predict each team would take?
The opposite.
Yeah, and I said I predicted that it would happen. The league table points would be what happened. So
you're still 5 goals off the correct.
Sure, I predicted the wrong number of goals.
So speaking of goals, I've got a little trivia for us.
Just moving.
I've got a little trivia for us. This is not the top 10 goal scorer in by player in the Premier League. This is just the first 10 players that show up. So the bottom part of this could be more ties on the next page. Okay. I'm not looking at that next page. There are 2 players from 2 different teams. So 2 teams have 2 players in the top 10.
Okay.
Do you want to venture a guess at those 2 teams and who they are?
I think one is City between Erling Haaland and Julian Alvarez. Ooh, I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it's Brighton.
Nope. These are just surprising teams. That's why
is Aston. I think Aston Villa. Oh, yeah. Aston Villa is my second guess.
Douglas Luiz and Ollie
Watkins. Yeah. So Douglas Luiz got a brace in this weekend's game on the Sunday game, which I think probably brings him up.
And Ollie just went off the past week. He had a hat trick in the game before, like the week before.
Yeah. Watkins had a hat trick recently.
Who's the other? What's the other team?
That would be Newcastle, who have Alexander Isak and Callum Wilson, who have 6 and 5.
Getting goals. Yep.
Oh, that was silly of us.
Another fun one. There are 3 players from England, and then the only other country that has 2. Can you name it? So the 3 players from England in the top 10 are Jared Bowen, Ollie Watkins, and Callum Wilson. They're all from England. And this other country has 2 players in the top 10.
I mean, I want to say Norway between Erling Haaland and Martin Odegaard.
Nope. It's even funner one for me. It's South Korea.
Oh.
Hee-chan from Wolverhampton.
The Korean
guy. The Korean guy.
The Korean guy. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So
As Pep says, not as we say, as Pep says,
Yeah,
the
as Pep
Korean
said.
guy.
Yeah, as Pep would say. Yeah. Sonny's on 7. He's tied for second, and Chan is tied for sixth.
Interesting. That's good
Wow.
trivia. I like that.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was good.
Forest is no longer Forest is not top of the table, by the way, for those that tuned in last week.
That's true. They didn't take 15 points.
They did not get the 15 points. Now they did Luton Town. So.
Luton Town wouldn't have gone top, but they would have gone like into the Champions League spots with 15 points, I think.
Yeah.
Close. They were going to Europe.
They would have gone to 19 points. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's the podcast for you. That's all we got for you. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry if you are a Sheffield fan and you wanted us to break down the Man U game, but we got a little sidetracked with Chelsea and their escapades this weekend. But check back tomorrow. Should be tomorrow. We will have a preview of match week 10. Should be some good feelings there. And you guys definitely won't want to miss it. I have a feeling it's going to be a really, really fun one. So check back and we will see you guys then. Have a good one.